This is Dusty King with King & King here for a special edition of the King & King Landlord Tenant Tip of the Week. And I've got with me Brian Farrell with First Bank here in Jackson. Brian, we've got a lot of investment property owners that, due to the COVID-19 situation and the fact that the Tennessee Supreme Court has, at least right now, suspended the ability to file any sort of detainer action or execute on any sort of writ of possession to regain property that if maybe a tenant is not paying rent on. We've got some nervous folks, and I know that the CARES Act has laid down some rules that may apply, may not apply, but the bottom line, if we've got somebody that's in this situation, investment property owner, what questions do they need to ask? What do they need to do, and what can you do to help them out?
So I would say first thing you do, obviously, I would pick up the phone and call my banker, because there's reason to freak out. Obviously, the landlords can't be left out in this situation. There's in the CARES Act, like you said, it's you can't go after the tenant in this case, and so the landlord needs to contact their bank. There are options. And that's when having a banking relationship really comes into play. You just pick up the phone, call the banker. Bankers understand their customers and their relationships, and can help you out. And in the short term, as far as documentation, I mean, it's so quick. This is nothing you can really expect. So it's really just the relationship. You can have bank statements, showing that you haven't earned rent or you haven't received a rent from your tenants this month. You can have your rent rolls that show things. But really what it comes down to is just picking up the phone and calling your banker, because banks understand. The majority of banks are going to work with you if you get a relationship with your bank. So I would just start there. Call the bank. I know, for instance, First Bank, we're offering a 90-day extension and just kind of starting there. To where your payments are pushed 90 days, and essentially you just tack on those 3 payments at the end. So that's an option. I would even call your bank and say, hey, I hear other banks are doing this. We are all essentially offering that to our customers. As long as we know that they need the funds, we can make it happen and push that payment for them. So.
Okay. One thing, I've had discussions with some folks, and I would also point out this is the benefit of doing business locally with a more local bank than it is some of the big banks, because I've heard that people are having more difficulty with the bigger banks, the national banks, and I think it's just that lack of a relationship that you're talking about. When you have
it's a lack of relationship, and it's also with all the PPP stuff going on. Most bankers are working all hours of the day, and that's their main focus at this point. And so some of those landlords and the investors are getting left out because the focus is on PPP, as opposed to you still have to maintain the relationships that you have. So yeah, the local bank picking up the phone, we can get it done. It makes it a lot easier for sure. So
sure does. Well, Brian, how can someone get in touch with you if they need some help?
You can reach me in my office. If you have questions. Obviously, whether you have a relationship with First Bank or not, I'll give you all the information that I have, the latest, because things are changing. On a daily basis, things are changing. So if you have any questions or just want to pick up the phone and get the latest on PPP or the CARES Act, then you can pick up the phone and call me at the office.
What's that phone number?
Phone number is 731-664-9191.
And then also your website is firstbankonline.com. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, firstbankonline.com.
All right. Well, Brian, we appreciate your time. This has been a special edition of the King & King Landlord Tenant Tip of the Week. And as I always say, your situation is unique. So please go talk to an attorney before you do anything. As long as you don't feed us after midnight, you should be good to go. Brian, thanks again, and we'll be in touch.